What is going on, everybody? My name is Braden. I'm the owner and operator of Beaches Skylights. We operate out of the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area here in Ontario, Canada. Today we're going to talk about price and kind of how we come up with the numbers that we come up with. I've had a couple clients call me this year and mention that, they've been doing some reading online, and some of the numbers that they were reading there are just a bit different than our numbers. So let me mention first that, what I'm speaking on today is in this particular area. So the Greater Toronto Area, some of the common home styles that we come across here quite often, and a couple of scenarios that we are popular anyway. So those I can speak on confidently, but other stuff is pretty speculative. So if it's a custom situation, it's got to be taken case by case. That being said, just to get into it quickly, probably the most common thing we get asked is about a skylight over someone's stairway, right? So no matter the home style, usually the stairway is kind of a dark, gloomy place that needs a little bit of sprucing up. So I would say a home like in the Markham area or Richmond Hill, where it's like a two-story home, sloped roof, shingles on the roof, that sort of thing, where the attic isn't too crazy, where it doesn't have like a massive attic, or the roof isn't crazy steep. It's pretty laid back, low pitch. Something like that is usually between $5,000 and $7,000 for a full install. So that includes every service between the roofing, the flashing, the framing, the structural, the insulation, vapor barrier, drywall, mudding, taping, painting, any custom trim work that we have to do, some pot lights if we have to do it. So typically that $5,000 to $7,000 range is going to be your standard kind of not easy peasy job, but get you a decent sized skylight around a 3x4 or a 4x4 with a decent sized tunnel there as well. Now anything over 8 feet or more in depth of tunnel, so we're talking depth, so the distance between the ceiling, or so the drywall ceiling, and the actual the distance all the way up to the roof. So if that height is more than 8 feet, the numbers kind of go up from there, and that sort of thing. But the other common scenario we run across quite a bit is going to be in the beaches, hence the name Beaches Skylights. Is going to be that classic, steep roof on the front and the flat roof on the back, and we're mounting the skylight over the stairway. Typically you got that tall, like narrow stairway and landing section there. Typically the numbers are pretty much the same there as well. We run between the $5,000 and $7,000 range there. It depends on a couple different factors like lath and plaster, that sort of thing, because they're older homes. They just have their own little headaches, more or less. But that being said, we try to, I would say it's closer to the $5,000 range on those projects in most cases. But we keep that little bit of extra there just in case, we see something like a false ceiling, or there's some crazy wiring in our way, that sort of thing. But to give you guys some background information on how we kind of get to those numbers, well, there's a couple of different major factors. The main one being the skill set to do the work, right? So it's not like we can put an ad on Kijiji or an ad on Indeed and look for skylight installers. Obviously it's the job market and the trade market. You're going to have people respond, but to actually have fully qualified individuals who can actually confidently do the work it doesn't exist, right? And if it does exist, it's probably one guy or maybe one or two guys in the city. And quite honestly, if their skill set is that good, they're probably taken somewhere else, right? So they're probably working somewhere else or working for themselves somewhere else. It's just that skill heavy of a career path that usually, if you're that good at all these trades, right? So the roofing, the flashing, the aluminum, the framing, the structural, the drywall, the mudding, taping, painting, the finishing, finish carpentry, trim work, mill work, chances are those guys are taking up doing something else. Could be one of those trades, could be a multitude, they could be any number of things. So just to simply find qualified members to do the work is that's a feat on its own. But I would say more importantly than that, it's having the team that is coordinated in such a way where whomever is starting the project is keeping in mind how the project is going to end up. So for example, if you're framing a skylight tunnel, you need to be confident that everything is perfectly squared in line, not only in just in kind of relativity to the room that you're installing in, but literally to the proportions of the tunnel that you're constructing. So that way, by the time you're done framing and you start getting to the roofing stage or the drywall stage, everything is perfectly square and straight. If your tunnel is out of square, your skylight won't fit on the roof. And if it's out of square, it's going to look very unpleasing to the eye as you look up, right? So there's all these factors that you need to take into account as you're doing the beginning stages. How is that going to affect you 3, 4, or 5 days down the road, right? And it takes a very skilled and very qualified team member to account for that, adjust for that, and make sure it gets done right. Because at the end of the day, when you're spending thousands of dollars on a service like this, first of all, we literally have a spotlight on all of our work. So when we're done, nothing is hidden. It is all completely out in the open. And when you spend that sort of money, you're going to be, rightfully so, you're going to be saying, hey, I see something here, I see something there, right? So we go above board and we make sure that conversation doesn't really happen at the end. If it is, it's something very, very tiny. We make sure you're happy. Small little cute little touch up, and we're on our way. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons and biggest factors how we get to the numbers that we get at, right? Now, some comments I've heard from just some phone calls from clients in the past here is that they're reading online, we should be able to get a brand new skylight fully installed for around $2,500, $3,000. And listen, if you've got a cathedral ceiling, if you've got this where the ceiling and the roof are parallel to each other going up, that's called cathedral. Or then we're a couple grand, $2,000-$3,000 will get you a nicely installed Velux skylight on that sort of roof. But that's because the space that you're constructing through is only a few inches, right? Could be between 6 and 12 inches at most. There's just not much work to do there. Structurally, it's very easy to resupport, and it's also very easy to finish. You don't even use a full sheet of drywall in most cases, right? Typically, you want to be on the more cost-effective side. You could trim out that opening too, so you don't have to do much finishing work at all. So on and so forth in that particular scenario. However, that's probably a handful of the prospects that we get for jobs, right? I'm going to keep it at that. I think that gets the point across for the most part, and helps educate everyone on kind of the world of skylights, and how that's shaped up so far over the years, and as far as who's available to even do the work, who's qualified, and also what kind of pricing to expect from a proper skylight installation specialist such as ourselves. Right, so I'll keep it at that. Hopefully, I can do some more videos like this, informing you guys if you want us to. If you have any questions you want to ask that you find pertinent, that you want us to answer for you, please let us know. You can visit us on our website at www.beachesskylights.com. We're on Instagram, Beaches Skylights there, and Facebook, and all the other Twitters and all the other worlds. So Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. All right, bye.